Oh, fuck indeed. That's what we're all saying. We're going to have a look at how green that deck was at the Gabba. We're going to tell you what you need to understand about Australian wickets. Mainly that, was South Africa's batting kind of shit? HAZLEWOOD or BOLAND, who you got for Boxing Day? Morne Morkel is on the show to tell us everything about everything. The BBL, the Thunder, all out for 15. We're going to have a look at that. Henry Thornton, 5 for 3. Not bad. Pakistan, England. What the fuck is happening with England? They're about to go a clean sweep, 3-zip in Pakistan. You know what, though? It's safety over in India because Australian women have already won that series, the T20 series. They lost a game, but they've redeemed themselves. They're up 3-1 in the series. That's all good now. Hey, Pujara scored his fastest ever test match 100. India winning Bangladesh. That's all before we get into hashtag AskTGC. There's a bit going on in this show, Pez, but it is, as always, brought to you by our dearest and oldest friends at Budgy Smuggler who have supported this show for many, many years. It's budgysmuggler.com.au. But let's talk about what a lot of people want to know. How did it go? How did it go at the Princess Theatre the other night? Where we had Justin Langer on stage and he walked off to a standing ovation.
Yeah, hell yeah. He brought that unique JL energy, you know? That I felt a lot of JL in the room, pre, during, post.
My shoulder has not recovered from the bruises.
Well, we were struck on the body roughly 8 times on stage.
Yeah, that was just his first story.
Yeah.
His first anecdote about John Williamson and John Howard.
Got to say, to his huge credit, JL came and it was a really entertaining night, you know. We put some stuff to him. He put some stuff back. Right. A lot of stuff that we'd said on the show, do it face-to-face, just a couple of men, you know, going eyeball to eyeball. Okay. But it was fun. And it was a great opportunity to like wander through the fullness of his contribution to Australian cricket, you know, before he was a coach. But I got to say, probably one of the best moments was before we went on stage. We're standing side stage as the little intro piece played. One of the slides was old JL head, footy head, take the 2 on Twitter, and the voiceover saying Cricket Australia website. It was possibly awkward at that point, but you know you know, people who are in the room, and that's the most tickets we've ever sold to an event, to a live show. They're just getting bigger. They will leave mainly remembering his Lindsay Fox parable. So if you're in the room, you'll know what that means.
Matthew via Patreon wrote in and said, really enjoyed the Brisbane show last night. Thanks for coming up north to perform to us feral Queenslanders. What do you reckon is a better feeling? Scoring a hat-trick in a losing side in a World Cup final, Mbappe obviously, or scoring most runs in a losing Ashes series, JL?
He was happy it was raised.
He was quite happy, yeah.
Little smile broke across the face there.
Also had some footage from our close friend, via our close friend, Roblinder 2. Of him taking 2 for against South Africa, playing for like the Australian Academy 11 maybe, just bowling some like 95k an hour, just in Duckers gets colours, gets Cronje. That was investigated later, but he's 2 for. So he got 2 for. Anyway, Mbappe. So about Mbappe, I mean, hat-trick in the final.
Doesn't get much better.
A couple of pens, but
still.
I mean, the second one was a fucking screamer, but yeah.
Should have
been saved.
Did his bit.
did his bit.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, boys.
Yeah. Garçon.
He's already won one. And he'll probably win one again. And plus he gets the golden boot. So, you know, that's got to be very satiating for Killian. Very satiating.
Before the game, you tell me you're gonna score a hat-trick. All right, well, I've done my bit. You know,
it's also a great photo of him, you know, which is actually mainly about his penis in the semi-final with hugging a Moroccan colleague.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a really good.
What did you like about that?
About the photo of his penis.
Yeah. Well, you could see the outline
just
of
like I see it, yeah. Just in white shorts. So to enjoy that, something for the eyes, you know.
Little optic there.
If you want to support the great cricketer.
It was more of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and increasingly subscriptions, my increasing subscriptions to OnlyFans, and you can support TGC at patreon.com/great cricketer. Where you get hashtag AskTGC Fridays and all the dailies for the test summer, of which at the moment there's not many coming out because it was a 2-day test match, the first two-day test match pairs since, of course, the famous 1932 job.
Yeah.
The famous 1932 job. Second time ever that a test match has wrapped up in 2 days in Australia. And that's about a session and a half longer than what I thought it might have been. You know, given a look at what...
When you had a look at the deck before the day's play.
Yeah, I saw some photos sort of 4 or 5 days out and I thought, a lot of green that, So...
Can't actually see the deck, paint the lines off, can't see them.
South Africa made 152. Verena hit 64. Stark and Lyon got 3 each. Australia then hit 218 thanks to Travis Head's 92. Rabada finished 4 for 76 there. And then South Africa were rolled for 99. Cummins took 5 for 42. Australia then gave him a look. Thanks to Rabada's 4 for 13, but they chased it. They chased 35 4 down. Extras top score 19.
That was so hot.
It was fucking red hot. Okay. I haven't seen a single person in any media say that the wicket was in any way good. But I have been enjoying a lot of Indian people, I name like Sehwag, just say like, you know, how dare they lecture us about our wickets when they're sort of defending their wickets. Haven't seen a single person say this was a good wicket in any capacity. So I got the question here, was the deck shit? The deck was just shit, wasn't it? It was a shit deck. It was dangerous. I mean, there was a conversation between Cummins and Elgar after the game. Elgar sort of suggested to the umpires, like, how long until you call this dangerous? It was getting fucking pretty spicy.
I mean, obviously I'm relaxed because we won.
I don't really see what the issue is. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, you know?
I think some of the conversation would be different if we hadn't won. But, you know, obviously cricket's never good. And that's the complex part of this. It's hard to know what anyone means when they criticise a deck. Because you've got to criticise something in cricket all the time, you know? Like, the games against the Windies were too slow. Right. You know, this game was too quick. Like, am I asking too much just for the perfect balance of bat and ball in every game? Yeah. You know, like Gideon made this point the other day. He's like you know, a 2-day test is an outlier. But, you know, recently we've seen a test team score 650 at 6.5 and over. We've seen a T20 team bowled out for 15. You know, like the different forms of the game create a little bit more wonderment. You know, it's freshening and expands its possibilities. I don't mind this kind of game once every so often, especially if we win. Oh,
once a week, it's fine. I don't want it every night, but once a week, it's fine. Perfect. little treat in there, little treat in the fridge there.
Was it interesting? It was. You don't want it all the time, and it is like it does rob a little bit of skill because batters. You don't know where the ball's going because it's hitting an indentation on the pitch. There's no real skill to it.
Yeah, it's a shootout.
Yeah, it's a bit of shootout stuff. But, you know, 50,000 feet stuff, flying up there, every so often it's okay. And I also don't think I think you've got a problem when a wicket, when teams may be ordering in particular types of wickets to suit their attack or anything like that. I'd be surprised if Australia was doing that given who they're playing against.
It would make absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, and I don't think the GABBA has any form when it comes to this.
Right.
They just, you know, they fucked up the ingredients, the recipes. We've all done that with dinner. Oh, yeah. You know, from time to time.
Yeah.
So, you know, we move on to the MCG, which itself was fucking honking last year. I don't really know.
And then like 2 years before that, it was... No, maybe a bit longer. It was like deemed a terrible wicket. And it was not far away from being downgraded from Test status.
Was that the MCG?
The MCG.
I think last year it was David Boone, who was the match referee, said it was like below average, I think, or unsatisfactory. Then the year before that, it was like simply good. And then the year before that was very good, but like...
Yeah.
So
the year before that was when Jackson Bird played his last test match.
Yeah.
Because there was no result in that game. It was too far. It was a bit like Rawalpindi.
Yeah.
See, when is it good? Where's good?
Yeah, that's right.
Where's good? And where's good consistently? The GABBA, I don't actually remember a time when the GABBA's been a bad wicket.
GABBA's normally good. I keep saying Gabbler.
Yeah.
But the GABBA is what I'm referring to. It's normally pretty good. I'm taking that over... the fucking dross the SCG's served up last couple of years.
The SCG is the worst wicket in the country.
Yeah.
In the worst team in the country at the moment, performance-wise.
That's right. The point is cricket's never good.
Right.
But if we're winning, I'm a bit like,
well.
You made this point perfectly. It's like, great toss to win. Really? I mean, you know, I think South Africa had the best of conditions batting-wise.
That's right. That's right. I mean, South Africa really should have cashed in that first innings, 152, never enough.
Is it like...
Never enough.
The problem with the deck is that, like... We now don't even want to talk about the game, like as in like everything is asterisk except for Travis Head. It's kind of like, you know, you'd like to be able to say, gee, Elgar failed in both innings. All the Aussies have targeted the captain then.
Yes,
they've obviously put a target on his back.
Yes.
And then they've succeeded in sort of hitting the bullseye there.
Yeah.
But it's more just like, deck stuff.
See, Warner's got away with that one, hasn't he? Because he got our first ball.
Yeah, it's like, everyone's getting out.
Real snorter from Rabada. Well, couldn't really do much about that one.
Yeah. But, you know, Kagiso did say, Fuck, I love Kagiso. As South Africans, we won't go down without a fight. So there is that. So
Yeah, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
That's good
They
to
won't
know.
be like we sort of targeted the captain.
Yep.
They're not going down without a fight.
Yep.
So that's good. Yeah. I've always been more of an Ahmedabad guy. Anyway, I've always said that.
I have seen some people suggesting that South Africa is batting no good. No one averages more than 40 in Test cricket. It's not good enough against our boys, on our decks. And whilst that might be true, South Africa had a very impressive series home win against India. That's one of the best they've had in recent times, given the circumstances around the Test match. Who was unavailable, the rise of the Indian national Test team as well. Fantastic series win, and they performed outstandingly with bat and ball. But it is true that South Africa's batters do average under 40 in Test cricket. No one averages more than that. Elgar, I think Elgar does, doesn't he?
I don't know. I think it might be like a 38 job.
Okay. But so whilst that is true, just like I'm looking at the ball that Stark gets his 300 Test wicket with, that gets Van der Dussen, and Van der Dussen misses it by like 15, 20 centimetres. Like no, Test players don't miss the ball by that much.
Your point being that the deck was honky.
It was exactly. Yeah.
AB's commentary on Fox was like, he was going like, you can't hit that. He's like, it's impossible to hit. He said it's impossible to hit that ball. I reckon he'd have a clue, talking about the GABBA especially.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's just like, look at like it's, it's like, oh, gee, Stark's got the ball coming back in. It's like, no, that's seamed.
Yeah, exactly.
Stark doesn't need the seam.
No, he never has. And it obviously breaks Matthew Hayden's heart, Big Doss's heart. He loves the GABBA more than anything, except for his dog Alfie. And to
you asked you asked Langer on stage about that.
Yeah,
well, he didn't like it.
Well, he said he goes to bed with him.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell who he was talking about.
Sorry, go.
So Big Doss criticising the GABBA. I think that hurt him. That hurt him. But
but he did it.
So you're talking about Rabada. He finishes 8 for 89 this match. He's got 45 wickets this year in 8 games at 20.
He's so hot.
So we'll talk about Jack Leach in a second, who's actually bowling really well. He is the leading wicket taker this year. He's got 46 wickets. He's done it in 14 matches. In fact, it'd be 15 matches, including this game. So nearly double the matches. Anyway, so Rabada's second on the list. I think Lyon might be third as well for this year. But Rabada, 8 matches, 45 poles. He loves playing against Australia, averaging 20. It's fucking red hot shit.
Yeah.
And in that fourth innings, though, it was becoming farcical. It was becoming farcical because he's so fucking good as well. Like he's such a fucking red hot good bowler. So that's good. Any love for Rabada? We sort of give him the love.
I like how in reflecting on that final innings, all of the South Africans like Elgar and Rabada and stuff are like, well, we weren't going to win, but it was about opening scars.
Yeah.
And like, I like that they denied, I'm not sure it was by design, but like denied us anyone hitting the winning runs. This will just be a bumper past your head that goes over the keeper's gloves.
For the third time.
That's right. I like that. Look, I noted on the ABC via Rick Finlay, numbers guru, that South Africa, I'm just repeating this from what I heard from the ABC, but South Africa lost a wicket every 25.9 balls in this test. Australia lost a wicket every 25.0 balls. So they concluded that it was the speed of scoring that was the difference. Being able to tactically work your way through one of those minefields and to do it through aggression and attacking batting, was the difference, which is often kind of
interesting.
It's often overlooked when we talk about like really difficult wickets to play on. It tends to we reflect to say, well, this is going to be a question of defence, but isn't Brendan McCullum, Ben Stokes, and Travis Head showing that like when it gets particularly difficult, there are many ways to skin a cat, and I know that because I've skinned about 4 or 5 cats, and you can and then I wear them as a suit afterwards.
That's how we first met.
But if Australia's losing a wicket, 1 every 25 balls, and Travis Head hits 92 off 96 or whatever it was, like, why aren't we talking about this as one of the great innings against Rabada, Nortje, Ngidi and Jansen? That is phenomenal shit. Like, we kind of now conceive of Travis Head as like this Australian master who flays the ball through the offside sometimes when the going is good, but that's wrong. Like when he came in against England with his 150 knot, Australia was struggling. He just, and everyone just says it's counter-punching, but it's more than that.
I think he did something in Hobart as well when that was a standing wicket as well. He came in. I don't know. He didn't get 100, but he might have got like 40 or something like that. That's 60 maybe, something.
And here. That is just absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
And it ends up being the difference, both the number of runs and the scoring rate as well.
So just with Head's form, so he obviously got that 152 in the last ODI at the MCG. He had 152 opening the batting there. Okay, England 3, sure. Then it's 99 in Perth. Okay, that was West Indies 2s.
Yeah.
175 in Adelaide. That was against West Indies 4s. Then he gets 92 in Brisbane. But you're only as good as your last innings. Gets a globe in the last pick. So I'd be having a look at someone else to come in, maybe a Hanscom. Something like that. Yeah. Jason's saying unfortunately broken the collarbone, so he's no good. But Head's form is remarkable. He averages 44 in Test cricket. I was saying that during the daily, one of the must have been after day 1, right? I was saying that I didn't really see the Head having these gears in him. Like when he first came into the Australian side, he was actually a very good ODI player. And then he sort of dropped out of that side. But so he's always an attacking player, but this run of form and this high level of skill, I didn't see him having this ceiling. And who knows if he's even at it right now. I mean, it's fucking amazing run of form. 152, 99, 175 and 92. It's 5 Test 100s, it's 10 50s, it's 40. I think his average is 44, 45. That's fucking incredible, and what an asset to have. And obviously, as we said this last week, and we'll continue to say this until he does it. But runs in Asia, the hardest place for Australia to go to score at. But I don't know. I mean, it's looking pretty good for the Ashes as well, which is really the only series that matters.
It is funny because he's scoring runs at this rate, and because he plays so many scintillating shots. You make this step to go like, oh well. He's just sort of seeing the ball well at the moment, but his technique has changed fractionally. He's not hitting the ball behind square anywhere near as much as he used to. A lot of those drives are going straighter. He's not nicking those ones, through third man or to the slips or anything like that. So he's really starting to come together as a bat. But now, obviously, as you've noted, he's put together one of the greatest innings in modern Australian history, which we will disregard.
Yep.
He's not done it in Asia yet, so So I did hear. I don't know if you're going to go here next with Warner, but I read today that in considering replacements for David Warner, the name Travis Head has popped up.
Fucking hell!
As
for opening the batting
to open the batting in Test cricket.
Okay. Who's saying that?
It's inconsequential.
Okay, right.
Bill Laurie. With respect to William Morris. But I mean, I suppose Warner's the next chat with all of this kind of stuff. Like the wicket was so asterisky, you can probably go like, well, let's see how he goes in the next one. At the MCG. I was even looking at his form, his numbers this summer, mate. Like, it's not kind of, it's not, this bloke can't see it anymore.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
weird, isn't it?
It's like, it was sort of, like in the first test against West Indies, he made 48 or something, and then the second two, he was in the late 20s, looking good for both, and then he just gets that one from Rabada. It's more like if he is on the decline, the last two places you want to go after that are fucking India and England away, and so does he want to just go like that'll do. I'm good.
Yeah, I was not even aware of the decline until maybe even the last Test match when it just started to become part of the conversation. Then I was looking at the numbers, and it's the last 2 years. I think he averaged 28 in Test last year and 21 in Test this year. But you're right, it's not like 0, 0, 7, 12, 80.
Yeah.
It's like it's consistently between 15 and 40.
And it looks okay.
Yeah.
When it's going.
Yeah. So it's
not got those optics of like, you're
done,
past
mate.
it. Yeah. Because a couple of things with his feet, I think they're a bit like, it's not fun, is it? But
just more generally speaking, because obviously Stark goes past 300 Test wickets now. We've always said before that it's a very rare occasion when all four players or all four of your bowlers have this many Test wickets. Khawaja did 1,000 Test runs this year. Warner's an all-time rate. Steve Smith's the best since Bradman. Marnus is number 1 Test batter in the world. Travis Head's just incredible form, and Carey has performed adequately.
Yeah,
it's
a couple of good innings in this.
It's a really, really good team. And if they, I just think India's like, they're just not going to win there. Like, just not. It's just too hard. But England is like, well, England's now the best team in the world, so I don't know. But I guess like winning the World Test Championship is is the most attainable goal, I would say, right now. Now, South Africa have now dropped below India on the World Test Championship table. So India are now second. I think that actually, that's now the likely scenario of the final, which is still 8 months away. No, less than that, 7 months away.
Right.
But
it is funny though. It's like, you can be really, really good and tick all the boxes, and it's like, the question is, how well can you lose in the major away series that determines who's the best team?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because this team that I'm looking at right now is like, fuck, Australia barely loses a test in Australia, really. And they have lost series, of course, but quite often, these test matches is just what happens. But I don't know. I feel like times are changing.
Do you feel like both teams are close? Like, I feel like in the days after this South Africa game, there's, a lot of it's been like, well, South Africa are only one innings away from this being close or whatever. I still felt like Australia was sort of just ahead for most of the game anyway.
There's just, we said this before the series, there's just no runs in South Africa. There just aren't any runs. And there are just, South Africa just has to blow away so many really good players, especially in Australia. Kawaja, Labuschagne, Smith, Head. Yeah, it just seems so much more easy to get out Van der Dussen, Hervé, Zondo, and Bavuma. They're a fair way apart, I would have thought.
So here you got Boland v Hoff.
Well, it's an easy one because I don't know if Hazlewood's fit, but that's not really the question.
I think that he's indicated publicly he's fit
to bat. I'll have a stick, boys. Don't worry about that.
For Warner,
it's I think Hazlewood is the I think Cummins is probably the best, but I don't know. Hazlewood's fucking amazing. No one's saying Hazlewood's not amazing, but how can you not pick Boland? He's just got the hot hand.
Papers today saying that should they not pick him in his home ground, it could spark a riot. I know people from Melbourne like to get upset.
Flares. What if Hazlewood throws a flare back into Bay 13? That's an issue. That could be an issue.
Well, some blokes with balaclavas running over. Are they going to boo him? He's still Boland. He's still averaging 10.36. I like, and that attracted punter saying he's had a couple of good decks to start on, and this was a bloke who was picked for his ability to bowl on the dead wickets of the MCG.
Yeah.
So wait until they roll out the flat ones.
It's just exactly.
This isn't a guy who just hits a length; he bashes a length.
Yeah, he bashes it.
You don't just hit it.
No. You
don't bowl line and length; you bash a length.
Okay, here's something that doesn't make sense statistically. Hazlewood's a better bowler than Scott Boland, but Scott Boland must play. How can you not play him? He's probably the premier seamer in the world at the moment. But, he's first, second change.
Some unpopular shit I'm going to say here, right?
McGrath chucked it.
I don't think I've said that out loud, have I? Mike Hussey would have averaged more if he was called Mick Hussey. Hazlewood averages 35.69 at the MCG.
Right.
Boland 24.35 first class cricket. Interestingly, with Hazlewood, just going through the last couple of years with Hazlewood, he has only played 7 tests in 3 years.
Right.
So when he missed out in 2019, he was dropped from the World Cup.
Yeah.
Or they left him out,
yeah.
And then they left him out of the first test at Edgbaston. When he came back at Lords, he was snarling, ripped through England's top order. A little bit of hang on, we don't put Hoff in the corner.
You don't put the bush horse in the stable.
Yeah, that's right. You let him out.
You let him out. He's got to gallop. Yeah. He's got to gallop out them, man.
I saw England doing some 6-sitting practice the other day. He's fucking Kiwi now. But Hazlewood, for the last couple of years, has been the first to go when there's a specialist for that wicket. That's what happened in England. It's what happened in the first test against Pakistan last year. Sorry. He played the first test against Pakistan last year, then he was left out when they brought Swepson in for the last 2.
Right.
And the same thing happened in Sri Lanka for Swepson. So he didn't play 2 against Pakistan, didn't play 2 against Sri Lanka.
Yep.
There is precedent there. And would you consider Boland a specialist for the MCG as much as, say, Swepson was on spinning wickets? Like, statistically, kinda,
But Boland's played one game there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But he's played, depending on the sort of deck they get there, he's played lots of games there for Victoria. That was his thing. That they'd sorted him out for the MCG, presuming it would be dead, even though it was the opposite of that. So...
I know a lot of time has passed, but during the T20 World Cup, that was the liveliest wicket at the MCG. Like, that game, the India-Pakistan World Cup game, it was 160, plays 160 ish. And but that was some really tough going against some high quality pace attack on both sides. I mean, I would say particularly Pakistan's pace attack. So, that was now 2 months ago. So it's like enough time has passed where the wicket's completely different. But I don't know, maybe there will be a bit more grass on it again and it will save around. But I don't know why Australia should just be preparing fucking flat ones, because Australia would just outbat South Africa. If they want to win the series, they shouldn't bring South Africa in any way into the series. And if it's green, then, saying that, never seen a greener wicket and they've just won this game. But it did feel like more of a shootout, didn't it?
It'll be interesting to see which way they go. I think it's an interesting test of Cummins' captaincy as well, and because Hazlewood went to Cummins' wedding. So did Boland go to his wedding?
Well,
I don't know.
Also, Stark's played every game. Now, these games are becoming shorter and shorter. I mean, a 2-day test match does work out quite nicely in terms of rest off and stuff, but they now have played 3 tests in 3 weeks. To be 4 tests in 4 weeks, obviously this week, and then the 5th one in Sydney. So it's quite a workload. So but Stark's in red hot form. He's bowling fantastically. I mean, Cummins had 1 game off with a thigh injury, didn't he? So seems to be no suggestion of Stark being rested for Boxing Day. I mean, it's one they all want to play.
Because he does so much to rest his body for these games anyway.
Yeah, so. That's true. So, okay, well then it's probably just a straight shoot up between Hazlewood and Boland. I mean, I just can't see Boland being left out. I mean...
Yeah, and I don't think that there should be any real incumbency on that kind of stuff either. I understand Cummins being an incumbent when he's captain and fit, but other than that, I just think if Boland's got the hot hand and he's bowling really well, I think he's probably bowling better than Hazlewood's been bowling, and I fucking love Hazlewood deluxe.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
So.
Well, on Boxing Day, Shane Warne's going to be honoured. His test cap number 350 will be painted square of the wicket for the duration of the match, and at 3:50 p.m. on Boxing Day itself, a graphic of Warne will be displayed on the MCG screens, while highlights package of the famous Victorian will roll out across the match. Fans are being encouraged to wear a floppy hat and don Warne's trademark zinc cream when attending the second test of the series. So if you're heading to the MCG, if you're coming down for Boxing Day, if you're in Melbourne, of course, then that's what's doing. It feels like in some regards it feels a long time ago since Warne passed away. But of course, this will be the first Boxing Day Test match, the first Test match in his home city of Victoria and Melbourne, indeed. That he won't be there at.
Players wearing floppies all game as well. I rate it.
Oh, all the players doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Floppies.
Alex Carey doing that?
I fucking hope so.
He might as well be in short sleeves and bat with a thigh pad on the outside.
Yeah, but it's novel. It'll be a novel thing to see.
It's something for the eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then red plays green that night, so it's all good.
Talk about that. Oh yeah. I got nothing else on that.
All right. Well, let's talk to Morne Morkel. But before then, Pez, we need to thank our dearest and oldest friends at Budgy Smuggler, budgysmuggler.com.au. The Christmas season is upon us. Finally the sun is blessing our Melbourneian skins down here because it's been fucking cold as shit. But that's over now because it's sunny and the good times will continue to roll. And you can get all your accoutrements for the summer, your budgies, your stubby holders, your towels, your hats, your bucket hats, anything you like, your party shirts. Oh, man, I've got to tell you, I cannot wait for the festive season to be over because it's been a festive season in my household anyway.
We've actually put together a TGC collection that you can check on the Budgy Smuggler website. This is the shit we're rocking around in. I think some stuff got replaced, but we're going for the Gold Tiger budgies.
Hell yeah.
Wallabies Indigenous budgies. A couple of other Indigenous designs as well, and the Derna 2.0. There's one, and then the Mulga Aussie Summer. And there's one called 8 Balls.
So enough said.
And then with the non-swimwear, the terry toweling white bucket hat, deluxe, rubber duck towel, a navy jumper, just because it's La Nina down here, 3 Kings towel, and a couple of stubby holders as well. You can get that at budgysmuggler.com, little TGC collection. A couple of other big dogs have got their collections out there as well.
That's where you go to check it out. Hey, before we spoke to Morne Morkel, this interview is brought to you by T20 Stars. Nick wrote in actually, Pez, and he said, Dear Pez and Higgins, I write to you a glowing endorsement of T20 Stars kit. That's t20stars.com.au. Which has undeniably changed my brother's life. As a specialist wicketkeeper batting number 11, he was swayed by one of your podcasts to not waste his time, I'm guessing, driving to an unnamed cricket store and to give Watto's gear a look instead. Unsurprisingly, he was very impressed by the quality of this new stick, and he became an advocate for T20 Stars kit amidst the ridicule of ignorant club mates. Then on the weekend, he was somehow promoted from 11 to opening following the late call-up of the regular opener to first grade and batted his way to a maiden ton.
Whoa.
After not scoring more than 20 in the previous 5 seasons. My point is, if T20 Stars kit can transform his game, it can change anyone's. Cheers, Nick.
There's a PS there that he doesn't want us to mention, but it's quite funny. It's T20stars.com. It's global. But that's good to hear. You know, that sounds like at that club there's a selection issue as well.
Yeah.
But I think primarily what is clear is that T20 Star kit works.
It works. It works. And if you want
T20 Stars,
that's right. And if anyone is a friend of TGC, they're a friend of T20 Stars as well. You can use the code TGC15 for 15% off the full T20 Stars range, just like I hope Nick's brother did before scoring his maiden 100. How the fuck did that happen when he hasn't scored 20 in the previous 5 seasons? I'll never know, but I think that means that will happen to you as well. T20stars.com. All right, here he is for the second time, Pez, on the show, Morne Morkel.
So grateful to be joined here by 309 test wickets at 27, and he also has a name, Morne Morkel. He's now a veteran of the show. This is his second time, and as far as I understand, fresh from mowing the lawn as well. Morne, welcome back.
Thank you, guys. Great to be back. I just think extra thing we can add, also the world record holder for the most no ball wickets. I think that is quite a achievement. You know, a lot of guys always. I think it's about 15. We need to double check that stat. So at least somebody needs to hold that record. I'm not very proud of it, but it's a world record. So yeah, let's go with that one.
I suppose it's a particularly special time with South Africa coming out to Australia because you are an Australian resident now. What have you made of the first test?
Look, I mean, I sort of reflected on it yesterday flying back from Brisbane. I mean, obviously the build-up was massive. We spoke a lot about the bowling attacks, the South African batting lineup, which I was quietly hoping they could deliver or get to a decent score. But when I arrived at the GABBA that morning, and I had a look at the wicket, I thought to myself, the last time I saw a similar wicket like this was back home in the first class game, where it was a similar time of the year, and the Titans, we played against the Lions. We were both out of the comp, and you could clearly see that the groundsman was also ready for a holiday. You know, he wanted to make it a quick and a fast game. But I've never seen a wicket like that before. I mean, it's pretty much a green mamba, as we call it in South Africa.
There's been a lot of chat about South Africa's batting before the series. No guys averaging more than 40 in Test cricket, right, Morne?
Yeah.
And then the first class system in South Africa is changing, and I think the guys only play 7 first class games a year, and they're not in the peak of the summer. But that all feels really harsh, given that there were 34 wickets in 2 days. So do you think that Test match sort of it almost doesn't count towards that argument of like, well, there's no good first class batters in South Africa anyway, because it was just a shootout this game.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is a lovely topic to discuss, and we can chat, we can talk about this for hours. For me, it's not making really excuses for South African cricket or the batting lineup, but also a lot of these guys that in that top 6 that fronted a world-class bowling attack, that's their first time touring in Australia and batting and playing in these conditions. So that's another hurdle for them to come over. They haven't played any Test cricket for, I can't even remember on the top of my head now when it's the last time this group played Test cricket. So that much fitness, time spending with the adrenaline and whatever comes with Test cricket, that is a certain fitness that you need to have. I mean, they were lacking that. And then, you talk about, the guys, the averages. We've lost a big chunk of senior players in that top middle order that were averaging 45, 40 plus. And quality players that could absorb pressure, and then from there go on and do a counter attack. And this team is gonna, they're gonna struggle with that. It's gonna take them some time to get used to that. We had a couple of guys coming back from injury, from the Dusan, the Timba Bavuma. They haven't played a lot of cricket. So, bar just the batting lineup, there were a lot of outside little also red flags popping up for them to overcome. And like you say, we're up against a world-class bowling attack that's not really going to give you scoring options. It's going to be tough. But I personally felt, on day one, especially when we lost the toss when we were batting first, Australia didn't bowl that well. There was an opportunity for us to get to a decent score. The wicket was on the slower side. It was doing a bit, but it gave you an opportunity to, if there was a play miss, it gave you time to adjust. And unfortunately, I think it was typical first day nerves. I mean, Rassie van Dusen, he could have left his, bounced a little bit. Dean got burgled down leg. So if we, in that first innings, if we could have maybe got close to 180, 200, that would have been a different ball game. Because yes, we lost by 6 wickets, and things on. If you look at the scorecard, especially the South Africans waking up, because it was like early hours in the morning, it looks bad. But there's a lot of small margins in that game that if it went the other way, it would have been a hell of an exciting game. I mean, I think of Travis Head, that catch dropping short, just short of Dean Alga. He went and scored a 90. One guy got runs and took the game away. So, yes, it wasn't a perfect test match, but I don't think it was sort of all doom and gloom for South Africa. I think they can just put that one out to the bin and really focus on Melbourne and kick off from there.
So that's what I was going to ask, Morne. We can talk about like systemic issues and South African first class averages and stuff, but you guys basically just grow a leg whenever you play against Australia, and especially when you come here. I was talking about some numbers earlier, like South Africa lost a wicket every 25.9 balls. Australia lost a wicket every 25.0 deliveries. And so to that end, I was going to ask you, as an expert, a guy who's played a lot of test cricket, probably on some difficult wickets as well. Like, do you think South Africa and Australia are actually quite evenly matched heading into the next 2 games? I note even in the last series when Australia went to South Africa, where you guys towed us up, Australia won that first test as well. Are you expecting South Africa to come back hard? And do you think the rest of this series is going to be close?
No, for sure. They're definitely going to come back. I think that's the beauty about South Africa and that culture, that Brazilians are coming back. They want to bounce back. They want to put a performance in. That's been the trademark of this team. Although we're lacking experience, that's going to be it. I spoke to Dean Alga after the test. I actually went to go and have a beer with him just to go check in. And, those were exactly the same points. I think getting the big thing for this team was to get day one or the first test out of the way. Like you come to a tour like that, where these guys haven't experienced anything in Australia like that. I was exactly the same in 2008. You listen to stories like the abuse from the crowd and how the bounce on the wickets, and you start formulating this picture in your mind, and you think, no, okay, it's actually impossible to play against these guys. Now this side, they face the Pat Cummins. The top six has seen how the ball is coming out of Mitchell Stark's hand. So as a player, you can now that you've seen the movie, you can start, do your own prep instead of listening to stories and then your subconscious mind running away from that. So I definitely think, they'll come back stronger, in the second test. And then, in terms of matchups of the teams, Australia, obviously they've got a well balanced team, a better balanced side than South Africa, I feel. We always said that we're going to understand the day Jacques Kallis moved away, the massive hole, that's going to be in South Africa. We're still struggling to find an all-rounder. We've got a fantastic bowling attack, but we need to maybe bring an extra batter in and strengthen that batting lineup a little bit, if you look at it. But who do you leave out in the bowling attack? Because Nortje was bowling well, Marco Jansen was bowling well, Rabada and Ngidi. There is a bit of a shootout, but you can't drop Rabada because his X factor is world class. He took wickets, so I think they've got a bit of head scratching to do in terms of finding their balance. I mean, Keshav Maharaj is another option where spin in Australia they look to dominate spin and when it takes spin down. So how much of a role is he going to play in Melbourne? Maybe later at the SCG where it's dry and turning. So finding their combination where, yes, we're going to take 20 wickets and also get scoring on board is going to be important, because I feel on this tour you're probably not going to need that 400 plus scores. It's going to be maybe a type of series where 280, 300 is going to be a good first inning score. So in terms of your goals, your KPIs, or how are we going to get to 300, they need to fine tune that and work that out and come up with a game plan.
I can't quite remember what the crossover was between the end of your international career and the beginning of Kagiso's international career, but like he's taken 45 wickets this year in 8 games at an average of 20. I think he was the fastest ever to 200 Test wickets. It's just fucking amazing, Morne. And he's so good against Australia. But like when you first came across him, did you play with him?
I've played with him, yeah, sort of the back end of my career. Yeah,
right, yeah, okay.
And he took a bit of heat now in this first test for not bowling fast. His pace was down a little bit. He looked a little bit, low in energy or flat in energy. But a lot of people don't understand that this guy, he's almost already played 8 years of 10 years of cricket. He started at such a young age, you know what I mean? And he's played every single game for South Africa. White ball, he's the frontline guy, the go-to man. Yes, on a tour like this, which is it's just massive. You want to give yourself, if I'm going to run in today, I'm going to give everything. If I break down, so be it. I mean, yes, in the back of his mind, he's sort of thinking IPL and all these tournaments and stuff like that. But this guy had a massive workload. So I mean, I'm expecting him now to hopefully bounce back and be that leader in the second test and really, get that bowling unit fired. Because there was a period we started like machines and with the new ball, but it was a 20-over period where I think we went at 4s or 5s, and in Australia you can't it's so hard to claw that momentum back. We're leaking runs and partnerships. So it's going to need, those are the small little things that they'll have to sort out. And he's the leader of that needs to put his hand up and say, okay, give me the ball. I'm going to create something. And get us back into the game.
Looking for a bit of insight, Morne, like Australia and our public are now, arrogant again. We've dusted the West Indies, who's basically fourth grade, we got this win, and Marnus is breaking records, and Smith's averaging 60, Kawaja's averaging 100. So we're just starting to crow again in Australia. But whenever you guys came out here, you just had no fear of Australia. Like, what do you say to the South African players? And maybe they already know this anyway, but like what weaknesses are there in the Australian side, and then also the Australian psyche, like Camo wants to play like the calm and relentless character and have the team just relaxed and stuff. But like, surely you want to be getting under the skin of the Aussies, winding them up a little bit. Would that be your advice to Dean Elgar?
Look, I don't think winding it up, but you don't want to really get into a battle with the Australians. I think that's where, the other side of them comes out. You definitely need to pick your battles with certain players. Like a David Warner, when he's batting, he's actually looking to start a fight with you because that gets him going. So I think you need to identify your players who you're going to go after, other guys who you're just going to leave alone. But I think the main thing for us was, when we toured and we were successful, day 1, day 2 would be pretty even. At day 3, we all know that's a moving day. That's a day where we wanted to sort of be able to be a little bit more in the Australian faces, see how they react. And when we do that, all right, front up and keep going. Because there was a time where, the guys were saying that it's all a little front they're putting up, but there's a bit of a soft underbelly. So if we give it to them, yes, we had the players like De Villiers and those guys that could go out and be aggressive and take them on and, be in their face. If you can get that momentum slightly on your side, you've got a chance. And things fell into place beautifully for us. We blocked out a day in Adelaide, day and a half Adelaide, and we knew that they threw everything at us. If we can be strong and Perth at last test, we've got a great opportunity to win a series. So it's small little moments that you need to identify that we're gonna go now after them. But also, like I said, you need to have the right people on the bus to stand up and front up, because it is not an easy place to come over and win.
There's definitely that kind of mindset from the captain, Dean Elgar. I noted before the series he was saying that he doesn't think he's very popular in Australia. He thinks that people think he's a bit of a dickhead, I think was even the quote that he said. But like I like him.
I like him.
I think he seems like a pretty good bloke. I mean, you're obviously having beers with him. So what we all want to know is Dean Elgar a good bloke?
Dean is, now that I've lived there in Australia almost 3 years, and I know the personalities of Australians. Dean is actually semi. He's got a bit of, I think that if we do a DNA sample of him, there's a bit of Australian blood in him. You know, Dean loves to swear. You know, he loves a little drink. And yeah, he's just, everything is good, mate. You know, all good, mate.
I just one away from the immediate cricket, Morne, while we have you. Like, I understand there's been a lot of upheaval in South African cricket. I mean, the way the news comes over here is that there's, major, Indian investment in the SA20 competition.
Yeah.
And, this is the big play from Graham Smith and South African cricket to get back on its feet and to essentially accept and promote the idea that like domestic franchise T20 cricket is the golden goose that a country needs to thrive in cricket again. What's your position on that in terms of that kind of change? How do you see it going? Are you watching it closely? I know you are involved in some ways.
Yeah. I'm just going to be involved with the Durban side as a bowling coach. I'm excited for this tournament. We need something fresh, something new in South Africa, and obviously getting the funds from India now is going to help to make that a really good product. I mean, I think I see this as it's going to be a global thing. I don't think it's going to be long before we see a Mumbai Indian Thunder here in Sydney or something like that. They are looking to take over world cricket and have a stake, in a team across the world, but. Yeah, like you said, in terms of funding for Cricket South Africa, this is massive. The 3 years with COVID, the budget did take a knock. So yeah, let's hopefully and to attract good players. I think that's the main thing. To have the funds to get the players in the internationals and overseas guys to put on the show is going to be important. But in terms of South African cricket, this is huge, and it's something that's now their little golden egg that they need to protect and be smart about. But that relationship with Graham and the Indians is obviously fantastic. So it's nice to have a guy like him as the backbone to help to drive this tournament.
Just last one from me, Morne. I was just thinking about the South African national team across all three formats, and I mean, you play in the team, you played in the best team, right? Number one Test team in the world, you won it all. But like, the South African T20 team was like a win against the Netherlands away from making the semi-final, and then who knows, he could have gone on to win that thing. Currently, they were second in the World Test Championship for the Test side. They obviously had a great home series win against India. I'm not really sure about the ODIs because that doesn't really matter until another year. But like, it just feels like South Africa is actually not that far away from being a really, really good team. Okay, sure, there's a lack of runs at the moment, but even Verena, for instance, averages first class cricket. Higgins Peterson, and Verena's gloves are good as well. It's a great bowling attack. Marco Jansen's storming into the international scene. So it almost feels like it's not that far away. I mean, do you see it as that as well, or?
You're 100% right. For me, white ball cricket, I think we're gonna compete. Yes, in the 50 over format, we're struggling slightly. I mean, we forfeited now the 3 ODIs here, which I think almost South Africa, they're gonna have to go and play those qualifiers in Zimbabwe, which is gonna be fun because if I'm involved with Namibia again, I can't wait for that. And also for them to come back and play in this sort of league too. And that's tough scenes. I said to the guys the other night, you guys need to realize, when you're playing and you're involved with top teams, you fly business class, you get drinks at nets, it's fun. But come down, these Namibians, these guys, they have to take their own water, their own shoes. It's hard work. But yeah, I mean, in terms of white ball cricket, also the Kolpak players now coming back like a Riley Rousseau. There's a lot of options in that. But for me, in red ball cricket, if you think, take 6 or take 5 players and out of the current Australian lineup. So let's go Steve Warnie, Steve Smith, go Smithy, Marnus. Although they're young, but take their top 5 out to replace those guys. It's gonna then any team is gonna struggle. So they're rebuilding that Test side. A lot of these guys that's currently playing in the Test side, they also play a lot of white ball cricket for South Africa. And I still believe, they don't play enough red ball cricket. So you need to get your basics, your fundamentals of Test cricket right. Leaving the ball, batting time. So these guys are playing all these tournaments now, white ball tournaments, and not enough red ball cricket for my liking, where they can go back and polish their game. You know, the basics of cricket, batting time, leaving the ball outside of. Yes, we're all chasing this new baseball, if I can use that word, and start when I make Test cricket exciting. But that's the same thing that happened to Adam Markram. Adam Markram opened the batting. He averaged 40. He was gone. Okay? He played limited white ball cricket. Then he got picked up, played for 2 years white ball cricket, and then he was chasing every ball outside off stump. We wanted to whack it for 4. Now it's averaging 15. So for him, it's going to go back. You need to go back and find out, okay, what's going to be my best way to score in red ball cricket, and how can I adapt that? And that's going to take time. It's only getting the right people also in your court. You know, connect with the AB de Villiers or Hashim Amla or JP Duminy and find out how they're gonna how did they make that transition between white ball and red ball. At the moment, I feel that's the one thing that's lacking. We don't have a lot of the great batters helping out, you know, in with this young side and helping them, sharing their knowledge and developing them. If that makes sense.
I've been looking up my cricket and Play HQ, Morne, and I haven't seen your name land on the Manly team sheet for grade cricket.
Hey.
Assuming you're injured and really desperate to get out there at Manly Oval and put them through their paces.
So press that refresh button. I played two T20s this year, so we were sort of borderline to qualify, you know, for the playoffs to make the top 4. And obviously, I'm involved as a coach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we lost a couple of players that got selected for the Blues, and there was Australian 11 to play against West Indies. And then, I sort of looked at training. I said, no, we're a bowler too short here. So drove back home in the shed. Managed to, between all the cobwebs and the spiders, find a pair of my bowling boots, and I played a little Thursday afternoon game, which was fun.
How'd you go?
It was great. I think it was. I took 3 for 13 and 4.
In third grade.
First grade. I drank about 4 Watarans. Bowled my first 2 balls, and I thought, oh my word, I can actually, if I commit now for the next 3 weeks, I can play maybe Big Bash here. And then 3 days later,
3 weeks
later, these volleys worked out, and I was like, man, I couldn't bloody move. So no, I'm happy to sit here now on the couch and be a couch critic and pretend that I know a lot about the game and talk to you guys.
Morne, very, very generous of us, of you to give us your time. I'll let you get back to mowing the lawn. You're now a veteran of the show. If you're having the South Africans round to your place in Manly around Sydney way, just shout us a little text as well, and we might come around and have a couple of beers as well. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's look it up. I would love it.
Thank you very much to Morne Morkel. All right, BBL 2022.
Blobby time.
2023. Lime versus Blue. Thunder v Strikers. The Sydney Thunder bowled out for 15 in Sydney. It's the second lowest score in pro cricket since 1922. The lowest score ever was 14, made by Surrey in Essex in the 80s somewhere. They were all out in 5.5 overs. Henry Thornton 5 for 3. Wes Agar 4 for 6. The Strikers made 139, so they were a fair way short in the end there. Chris Lynn, leading run scorer in the Big Bash of all time, hit 36. And Colin de Grandhomme hit 33. So all that 15, you've seen the highlights, Pez. You felt the things. It was Nick City, next door to Sleep City.
What a business. Sleep City. What should we call this? Mate, get on one of those beds. Fucking Sleep City. Here we come.
I thought it was weird in this innings, in the Strikers innings, there was almost all, there was like 6 or 7 guys who were out playing cross-bat shots who are caught like fine leg or third man. A lot of nicks behind the wicket in that regard, but then the Strikers bowled the fuller length and it was just fucking catches deluxe behind the wicket. It was unbelievable. And then you at some point you just say that it's like 5 for 7 or something. Then you're like, well, they'll end up getting like 45 or 60 or something. It just always happens. It didn't happen in the end. Brendan Doggett finished top score with 4.
I was going to say that's probably the big shout out. That's a great result for him. That's Kylian Mbappe stuff.
He French cut one down.
It was the only boundary of the innings.
Only boundary and an enormous Bronx cheer from the home crowd. So good. I guess. I guess that's pretty tough times for the Thunder, but I mean, it's funny. Like it became
Pretty tough
farcical.
times for Lime.
For Lime. What
What are we calling it? So what's Hobart Hurricanes if Adelaide's blue? 'Cause I've got Adelaide as cornflower blue.
Well, that's purple. It's purple. It's like Grimace. What's cornflower blue? You can look that up. I'm not on the internet. No, fuck it. Well, I mean, this is more of a like Adelaide, more of a sky blue, but it's not sky blue. It's not like Sydney FC.
I think it's cornflower blue.
Cornflower blue. So what are you saying? What are the Hurricanes? The Hurricanes are purple.
Oh, I'm colourblind. I'm fucked. I'm absolutely fucked here.
They should call them something else.
What are you going to call them though? I'm just going to say. Yeah. Just pretend.
Okay, cornflower blue. Okay,
they're blue and silver.
So this is Lime versus cornflower blue.
Well, these are the big questions coming out of them rolling for 15.
Yeah.
Henry Thornton was a 5 for 3. I mean, they bowled well. Took their catches. That's what happens. You take your catches, boys.
Just got to create 10 chances.
Are you watching the BBL? Have you watched it?
I've watched more. Only the highlights. I've watched highlights most nights.
Highlights guy?
Yeah.
Minis, etc.
Not the minis, just the minis. Yeah, like 20 minutes. Yeah. I'm getting 20 minutes per match, but then it's like, it's just.
You're not blobbying it? Yeah.
No, I'm not blobbying it yet, but it's not blobby time for me just yet. This week's blobby time.
Yep.
So we'll explain what that is. Blobby is a character in the UK from the 90s, I think it might have been. Might have been a little bit earlier than that. He's sort of been recreated back into the late 2010s, into the 2020s, where he's just a character who just rolls in and he's just drunk. And he just
knocks a few things over.
He's coming steaming from the test match. The cricket's on, just a couple of colours playing in the background. Blobby.
Yeah.
And then it's just on. So that's
so you're in a blobby territory now.
This week.
See yourself,
this week.
Yeah, just rocking in. I can put the BBL on, let it wash over you.
Yeah.
Lime green.
Going back home.
Orange.
Going back home for Christmas for a day, because we'll be back here for Boxing Day, obviously. But so is there a game on Christmas Eve? It's on the 23rd because it's FAF versus Stoinis and the Junction in Melbourne Oval on the 23rd.
I'm actually taking my children to their first ever BBL game to watch Orange v Green.
Okay.
At Junction Oval.
I might come to that.
I actually have spare ticket. I've got family ticket.
Is it sold out?
It was quite. I don't think it's sold out yet at Junction.
Okay, and then sort that out then.
Yeah, but
maybe I'll come down. I might come down with LJ.
Yeah,
might be nice.
Yeah, 3:30 start.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, afternoon thing.
Yeah, okay, that'd be nice. So FAF,
Stoinis.
Just watch them brushes.
I think my boys will last maybe an hour.
Okay,
4.5, 2.5.
Yeah. Probably stay with LJ if I'm
honest. But I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
I think that'd be good. Last night, I think Paddy Dooley for the Hurricanes for purple.
For Grimace.
Yeah, for Grimace. 4 for 16.
Yeah.
Little moment where he knocks over Faf and just prior to just as the ball bounces, Wade's keeping and he says bold.
Yeah.
Don't think Faf liked that.
Yeah.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah.
I think Wade just gets ahead of himself.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's a bit of Wade Grim stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's grim.
Yeah.
That's backyard grim stuff.
That's why they call it Grimace.
Yeah, that's why they call it a Grimace, boys. It's all right. He apologised, I think. Brett Lee said of Paddy Dooley, remember the name? Like he's like Wayne Rooney. Everton,
right.
Paddy Dooley, remember the name?
Yeah, okay. Good looking guy.
Yeah, he is a good looking guy.
Very good looking, yeah.
Nice.
So it's something for the eyes.
Yep.
Something for the eyes. Aaron Finch hit 70 off 43 to chase down the Thunder's one.
71 red.
So the next night, or a couple nights later, the Thunder made 174. I don't know what the multiplication of that is, but more than 10 times the amount, about 12 times the amount the night they had the previous game with 15. Made 174. Then Finch hit 70 off 43 to chase it down, one ball to spare.
Yeah.
And then Nick Maddinson playing for Red. Melbourne Red. He's got the yellow cap at the moment. He started off the season with 87 off 49 against the Heat. Then he had
North
30.
Queensland. It was a good. I actually watched a bit of that.
I watched a bit of that as well. That was actually good. That was actually good.
Actually good.
And then he hit 39 against the Thunder. And then he got bowled. We got, what do we call it? The bail came off and he played a pull shot. And he hit the side on angle and he was nowhere near it. The bail just fell off.
Ghost stuff,
yeah. I've never seen anything like that before. It just reminds me of like some village shit. You see from time to time where like the ball goes like through the stumps.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. And it's like, well, okay, well.
I think there's a bit going on with bails lately. There's too many. Sometimes they're not dislodging. The groove's too much. Now they're falling off. I think they've got to look into it.
Jeff Toovey needs some investigation, yeah. I didn't like the zing originally, but now I'm into the zing.
Yeah.
I'm into the zing.
Just lights? Is it novel
LEDs,
stuff? Yeah.
LEDs, anything.
Hard to miss with LEDs in life, isn't it? Really?
Big time. Big time.
Hard to miss.
LCD sound system, all of it. Joe Clark in
LED
his first,
sound system.
the first 100 of the tournament, he did 101 red against purple. He was playing for green. There's been a couple of catches knocking about. Shut Up Khan took a screamer last night for Grimace. And then it's catchy to say. I'm into it now. And then Brody Couch took one for green, didn't he? Trent Bolt's bowling. That was against, I think, Gilks. Flicked one down to short, fine leg, and then he sort of Mark Taylored it a bit. Do you remember the Mark Taylor? What I mean is like he sort of dropped and then he kicked it up and then he caught it again. Now, do you remember that catch? The Mark Taylor catch? I remember that so clearly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been replayed. Like, I'd like to see stats on the most replayed catches knocking about.
I've honestly not seen that many replays of it.
Yeah, you mustn't be at the TV when that happens.
I don't really watch cricket. It's not really for me, that stuff. But just I don't know why I remember that so clearly. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I would have been like 8.
It was a high piece of skill.
I got to tell you,
when you look at it close, it's a really good touch.
It's a very good touch. It's cushioned.
A really good touch.
Very good. Yeah, cushioned. That might be my favourite Australian kit, the Ansett Australia kit.
Really?
Oh no, the Coca-Cola one, the one when we won in the West Indies in 1995.
It's subtle. It's a subtle question. Like, you're talking about what's the best integration of a sponsor onto whites?
Yeah, we might have done it, but no, not for whites.
But is that what we're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
On the test skirns.
Yeah. I like Pepsi. I like Pepsi in any capacity on Pakistan's.
Oh, okay. So we're going for other countries now as well.
Nah, not necessarily. I'm just saying we're just talking about whites, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go through some of the test sponsors.
I like Vodafone for England.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're doing Australian 4X.
You know, when Australia at one point went to orange.
Yeah,
and I didn't like it.
And that was the team
because it needs. I need a premium sponsorship that's kind of got an Australian angle as well. Mm-hmm. Like when they're Qantas overseas.
Big time. I still like that. I mean, 2019 Ashes was still Qantas.
Yeah.
Travelex, sort of early 2000, 2001 Steve Waugh stuff.
Enough.
It's not premium. No.
It's not premium enough.
No. When's Amazon going to get on board? Apple.
Weren't they like... Wasn't they Feeler for a bit?
Yeah, they were.
Now, that is incongruous.
That's Michael Slater years.
Yeah, but... And that's like... Kids knocking about in Feeler at the time were not cricketers, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Which I sort of like it.
Well, 90s fashion's back in at the moment.
Yeah, like Champion is a brand, like it's a bit of a hipster brand these days.
Yeah.
Now that'd be good.
Yes.
For myriad reasons.
If the Australian team can start wearing Nike TNs, just like with some flames on the side, that's what I can get into.
Yeah, but so it's like Nike, you know, I mean, obviously.
Because Warne brought Nike and then Cole had a bit of Nike.
Yeah, but it's almost like the Australian men's team's not cool enough for Nike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's above Orange.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like a network that still exists perhaps would be nice.
Orange. Yeah. What else?
Imagine Australia sponsored by like Dodo or something.
Yeah. It's kind of...
Sleep City.
Yeah.
Come and something like that, dress up as a mattress.
Yeah.
I think that was Mr. Sleepy, actually.
I for my own safety, I want premium, iconic Australian brands.
Yeah, okay. RM Williams.
When it gets RM Williams,
come on,
that's fantastic.
What are you doing, RM?
Yeah, because they're doing they do rugby, which is obviously alignment
dead.
But I would have thought that their constituents are already familiar with that brand.
Yeah. What about the Akubra?
Yeah, that's nice.
And the Australian team walk out.
What about Budgy Smuggler?
For the Well, the guys are already wearing Budgy Smugglers, as we know. All right,
that's right. Linny's already got free branding. He doesn't need to pay for it.
The bloke's already wearing them. You can see them through their whites. Jason Sanger's out with a fractured collarbone. He's out for green. For lime, sorry. That's for lime. So in the table so far, Adelaide and the Renegades are 2 from 2. The Sixers and the Heat are 0 from 2. What are the Sixers? The Sixers colour is...
Magenta.
Magenta, thank you. Magenta and teal for the Heat. So magenta and teal, they're 0 from 2.
Yep.
Cornflower blue and red are 2 from 2.
Yep.
And as we said before, Faf v Stoiners at the Junction in Melbourne on Friday. So that's something, that's a little bit of star power. And obviously Stoiners had COVID recently, but he'd be all good to go. Now, anyway, all right, Pakistan versus England. England are on the precipice of winning 3-0, a clean sweep in Pakistan. Unbelievable scene. So in this game, Pakistan batted first and made 304. Babar hit 78. Leach took 4 for 140. England then scored 354. Harry Brook made 111 in quick time. Folks coming back into the side made 64. Rehand Ahmed took 4 for 150 and Norman Ali took 4 for 126. Pakistan then crumbled somewhat in the third innings of the game to be all out for 216. Babba hit 54, but 18-year-old debutant Rehand Ahmed took 5 for 48, and then Jack Leach took 3 for 72, making it 8 for the match for Leach. England at the moment, as we record this, at the end of stumps on day 3. Day 4 would be about to start in, I suppose, a couple of hours as we record this. England are 2 for 112 for 2, sorry. And then they 55 runs to win, 8 wickets in hand. So before the game, Azhar Ali announced his retirement from tests. Just a quick note on him, Pez. He's finished his career with 7,000 test runs, career average of 42 and 19 test hundreds. So quite...
Not bad.
Not bad. Quite not bad.
Did you see the guard of honour they gave him as well?
Really poor. Really poor.
It almost eradicates everything he achieved. And he didn't even ask for it.
It was pitiful's harsh. It was pitiful.
It was
a shocking attempt.
If you haven't seen it, and it's be fair to say many wouldn't have.
Yeah.
He gets out, inconsequential really.
Oh, Jack Leach gets him with a fucking beauty.
Yeah, pack him. And he gets a few handshakes from the England players, very good. And he's walking off.
Tell him to fuck off.
And hopefully out of respect for
fuck
the code.
Out of here. Yeah.
And he's walking off the field, and there's a couple of his teammates come down with cricket bats.
Yeah.
And they stand opposite each other in a tunnel formation.
Yes.
They hold the cricket bat up diagonally as though you were like acknowledging the crowd, and the toe of each cricket bat is touching the man opposite. So he's going through a makeshift tunnel like you might, I don't know, like allowing, or like seeing off a married couple, at the end of a wedding.
Or, it's just, we've gone past the spring season though, like a nice like row of jacarandas lining a street perfectly, like with cricket bats touching.
Yeah, it's willow.
Yeah.
Willow trees.
Saw blokes do that once in the showers actually with their erect penises, and you had to like walk through them underneath.
Right. That was the cock trick for the bigger guys.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. Now, if they did that for Azhar Ali, given the Pakistanis don't tub as far as we understand.
A lot more respect.
Yeah. If they did that, that would have been interesting.
It was funny because Babar's arm like sort of went through it himself. He went through it the other way. Did you see that? He went through it he went through it the other way.
Thanks, boys. Yeah. Well, there's always that joke.
And then him and Rizwan laughing with each other.
I love it. Well, it's a historic test, and we'll spend 85% talking about a cock tunnel for Azhar Ali. I mean, Rehand Ahmed Pfeiffer on debut.
So he's 18 and 126 days, I think.
Yeah.
Or
youngest men's test cricketer, did you say that? To take Pfeiffer on debut. He beats Cummins. And once again, Australia getting knocked off by the history-making England side. Getting some shit from some Aussies for like praising England as well on
are we?
TGC. Yeah.
We are?
Yeah. So
okay.
Anyway. But there was like footage of his dad shedding a tear as well. Oh,
Raheem.
Yeah.
Raheem Ahmed, I believe.
Oh, that's his dad's name.
That's his dad's name.
Yeah, right.
Which is confusing, but yeah.
Oh, really? I mean,
it's just a different name.
Different name.
Well, it's just slightly different. It's like Stephen. It's nothing the same as that at all.
It's still like in Australia, it's still wait and see if you can do it against our boys. I heard as late as this morning. I'm not going to say who.
Right.
This morning I heard, well, can you keep doing baseball if you get bowled out for 50 a few times? And it's like, yeah, but they haven't.
At the same time, I did hear this morning if Rehand Ahmed was an AFL team, which one would he be? So
when England was set 167 in 7 sessions.
Yeah, and they wanted it.
112 for 2 off 17 overs.
Yeah.
And Rehand Ahmed comes out as the Nighthawk.
As a Nighthawk, yeah. And they
boshes a few down the ground.
And they were saying after the game, so 7 overs were lost to bad light at the end of the play, so they need 55. So they would have got those runs tonight. Last night had they finished the game. But I suppose they've got to wait 10 minutes this morning to get that job done. I mean, it is remarkable. It is. And you know what's remarkable as well? It's like they've now got amazing depth because Harry Brook comes in, he scores 111.
It's his third century on the tour.
And they don't have Bairstow, who fucking snapped his leg in half on the golf course, who was probably the batsman of the summer. That's probably about right. Joe Root had an outstanding. I mean, Joe Root's hardly. Joe Root got a first baller in this in the first innings here. He's hardly scored a run on tour, Joe Root. But all of a sudden, they don't really need him because they got like Ben Duckett's hit 50 in this game off about 40 balls.
Ben Duckett's their opener now.
Yeah,
Ben Duckett opens for them.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Johnny Bears, though, I'm just not sure his scoring rate is appropriate enough for this team.
yeah,
Man, I'm
sort of
looking
130.
at clips of them doing 6 hitting practice.
Yeah.
You see this? Like,
No, I didn't see it.
they're blasting dire straights. And then like someone's just at one end of the pitch, like centre wicket.
Yeah.
And they're playing a game north versus south.
Right.
And they're just trying to hit sixes into the stands. It looks like heaps of fun. I didn't never even conceived of that. Like could you imagine any grade training ever? It was like, all right, guys, we're gonna have a game of who can hit the most sixes. Like, and there's pressure on. You wouldn't go near it. It would sort of be unseemly.
In the third innings of the game when Baba went to 50, he was on 46, Rehand Ahmed bowling, and he pushes the ball to mid-on, dot ball, no run, and sort of the non-striker, who I don't remember who it was, but sort of was like semi out of his crease, and then so Ben Stokes at mid-on fucking pings it at the stump, so it wasn't really a run out on. No one backing up, 4 overthrows, whole team just starts laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, if that happened in grade cricket, you would never play for the club again. You would actually never play for the club again if you laughed when you threw overthrows.
Yeah. Or you'd be punished with some kind of penis humiliation.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
As Jeremy Clarkson said.
I think Australians, this is what's going to be funny about the Ashes.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry,
what did Jeremy Clarkson say? People want to know.
I was going to do a Game of Thrones bit.
Yeah.
He was just talking about how he wrote a thing about Meghan Markle, and then he was saying that looking forward to her walking naked through the streets when people hurled fecal matter at her.
Jeremy Clarkson wrote that, did he?
Yeah.
He's a piece of work. But I'm fucking rattled by that.
So that's what would have happened to Ben Stokes had he been playing twos at my club. he was starting twos.
Naturally, he's overseas. But like Australians, when the Ashes takes place, like halfway through next year, June next year, like I think a lot of Australians who are
How are you, June?
Yeah, you June. Australians are going to find it very, very difficult to make sense of it,
Yeah.
I think. Because we obviously, as a polis, we don't pay attention to anything that happens away from our shores.
No.
And we might have a look at some cricket in England when we're playing when the AFL's not on, you know? We'll have a look at it. Yeah. And like when Bazball happens there and when they have success with it, whether it's all the time or not a lot or whatever,
right.
I'm just looking forward to that clash of like deep-seated Australian conservatism, and you know, no country does this is how you've got to play the game like Australia, in my view. Like I just think it's going to be incredible. Like they're like trying to make sense of it, especially if they go well. And who's got the rights? It's going to be Channel 9, isn't it? So they're going to do like
Channel 9,
just going to do it like a, you know,
we'll get the Sky feed, and then we'll get just a couple of blokes that are beat.
Because that's when I would want a full Australian panel of guys who played between 1991
I need Mark Wall. Mark Wall's going to do some of us. We're going to do some live streams with June.
Yeah.
In June.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
June's a ruined month now. It's my birthday month. I can't hear without hearing Mark Wall.
So many things are ruined.
Yeah. Fuck.
So many things are ruined these days. Yeah, so that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good.
I don't know, but England are fucking changing the game, and they brought in like this 18-year-old kid who doesn't even have that good a first-class record. We've obviously seen the clip of him talking to Shane Warne that time. That's really heartwarming and all that sort of stuff. But it's just everything they touch has turned into gold. I mean, it's a 3-0 clean sweep in Pakistan. Fucking unbelievable. And by that I mean how bad Pakistan have been in the sort of underperformed enormously in this tour. All right, I'm just going to say this right now. We did put a message out to Vitushan Harantharajah, who is actually in Pakistan. So if we do talk to him, it's going to be right now. And if we don't, then I'm just going to keep talking. All right, India women and Australia women. The Australians lead the 5 T20I series 3-1. There's one more game to play at midnight tonight or 12:30 tomorrow morning our time. So in the third T20, Australia won by 21 runs. We also remember that Australia won the first game comfortably. Then the second game, India won in a super over. That's the first game of T20 cricket that Australia have lost. The third T20, Australia won by 21 runs. Elise Perry was player of the match. Australia batted first, hit 172 for 8. Elise hit 75 off 41. And then Grace Harris came in and hit 41 off 18 at the end. And they defeated India, who hit 151. Verma hit 52. And then Darcy Brown and Ash Gardner took 2 wickets each. The fourth T20, Australia just got home by 7 runs in a very decent game. Ash Gardner was player of the match in this game. Australia hit 188 for 3, again batting first. Elise hit 72 off 42, and Ash Gardner hit 42 off 27. Grace Harris again, 27 off 12. The finisher, dare I say. India hit 181 for 5. Harmanpreet Kaur of obviously Melbourne Red fame hit 46 off 30, and then Ash Gardner took 2 for, and Alana King took 2 for as well. Elisa Healy actually came off in that game with a calf. She's been captaining this side, given that Meg Lanning's taken an indefinite break. So I'm going to guess that that might mean that Elise might captain that last game if Elisa Healy is
Talia McGrath's captain.
Talia McGrath, because he's vice captain. Because he's vice captain. And also she is the number 1 batter in the world at the moment.
T-Mac.
Yeah, she went to number 1. And Elise Berry's now back at number 1 all-rounder.
Everything you're saying sounds good and safe. Apart from Elisa Healy's injury, I'm not wishing that on
still losing that second game in a super over. It's no good, obviously.
And Phoebe Litchfield, has she managed a debut yet?
Yeah, she played. She played in the second game. She played in the second game.
Good to see.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really, the story is Elise Perry's reinvention and comeback. You know, I think a lot of people have written her off in this format. She's come out against the team most pressing Australia and destroyed. So you just, you know, you can't. You know, champion's a ruined word now as well, but she really is. Yeah. She's been written off and just comes back and fucking does it again.
I mean, I guess for this series, there are WIPL contracts on the line, so, you know, it's always...
And
always
that's the allegation.
It's always a
just text her, we know you only get out of bed for an IPL contract.
Yeah. I was thinking about messaging before they went over there, good luck with the series, and by that I mean, you know, securing...
Yeah.
Securing the bag.
These are audition matches, right?
They're just auditions. Bangladesh and India are in a test series at the moment, 2 test series, and India won the first test by 188 runs. India hit 404 in the first innings. Pujara hit 90 and Shreyas Iyer hit 86, and Ashwin, of course, just hit 58.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Bangladesh and all out 150. Kuldeep Yadav with some left arm wrist spin. Took 5 for 50. Siraj also took 3 for 20. So that means their lead was about, 250 at the beginning there. So India then in the third innings hit 258 for 2. Shub McGill, friend of the show, hit 110, and Pujara hit his fastest ever test century, 102. I think it was about 105 balls, maybe 110 balls. Anyway, both of those hundreds were red. That meant Bangladesh needed to hit 8,000, and they finished 324. Zakir Hassan, who was on debut, test debut, he hit 100 clean.
That's nice.
For Bangladesh. And Shakib Al Hassan, who played this game mostly as a batter for some reason, he hit 84. But then Aksar, of course, took 4 for 77. Kuldeep Yadav took 3 for 73. And that means he took 8 for the game. So India win the game by 188 runs. Rohit Sharma is still out for the second test match, I believe, with his heavily fucked up thumb. So this was a win for KL Rahul, who will continue to captain in the second test match, I reckon. And obviously this win, Pez, means that they then go to second in the World Test Championship table above. Okay. South Africa, does that mean anything to you?
Not really. Yeah, so he's been ruled out, Rohit. In case people are tuning into this cast for Rohit Sharma injury updates, he's been ruled out.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to be honest, it's not meaning a lot.
Nah, it doesn't. It's not really getting me out of bed.
Yeah, Shreyas Iyer scoring runs, that's good.
We also can't get the highlights here. We're sort of YouTubing this stuff.
Yeah.
We're trying to find YouTube highlights for this one. Bit of EDM underneath.
Yeah, like sort of incongruously loud as well.
Yeah, get the levels right.
Yeah. We're going to put some fucking EDM. Yeah. So I don't really have much more to offer on that, Higgins.
But I suppose from a Pujara perspective, like he was not far gone from the team at the same time as Rahane. There was that, especially during the South Africa series when they were like, well, has their time been done? Mm-hmm. And obviously, literally his name Rahane is out of the team, but Pujara has come back and now he's scoring runs again. He's fastest ever 100. I mean, the pace of the 100 is probably not that important, but 100 nonetheless. And it's nice to see like a purely test match batter scoring test match hundreds, I suppose. So there's that. All right, let's get into hashtag AskTGC. But before we need to do that, Pez, we've got to thank our friends at Manscaped. Use the code TGC for 20% off. Any Manscaped stories recently for you?
No, I haven't shaved my pubes recently.
Okay.
But Santa baby, it must be a holiday miracle. Because the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, are stuffing your stockings with everything the man in your life could ask for. Mm-hmm. That's right. This holiday season, Manscaped has vowed to make sure his ornaments are shining bright and his tree standing tall. That's right. Manscaped has vowed to, they've vowed to make sure his ornaments are shining bright and his tree is standing tall. Okay. Spice up his stockings with gifts he'll actually use. And something you can enjoy too. Wink emoji.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that.
Almost a selfish gift. Is that like the Homer Simpson bowling ball to Marge? Shave your pubes so I can enjoy your tree standing tall.
Okay, but if you've got like a Secret Santa situation, if you've got some sort of Kris Kringle gear going on in your household this Christmas,
Not bad.
aren't you just telling someone what you want? I mean, like, isn't that the greatest gift of all? Just someone giving you something that you actually want.
Interesting.
That and a Sony PlayStation. Sony PlayStation.
Sony. So the ESPN Crick Info. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with the code TGC.
Pez, all of our live shows on stage, we've been enjoying some Ponting wines, and you can get Ponting wines at pontingwines.com.au. Use the code GETAFEW for I think it's 20% off. I think it's 20% off. You can use the code GETAFEW at pontingwines.com.au. Now, we've been drinking some of the absolute finest Ponting wines on stage, and let me tell you, they've been going down an absolute treat, except for the first sip at Adelaide, where we'd had a couple before, and the first one not so good, but the second sip, the third sip, and subsequent sips, glorious. Our good friend Ricky Ponting actually personally delivered a whole box of wines to the studio last week. I didn't see him, but I presume it was him because there was some at the door. So that's probably how that worked. So thanks for doing that, Rick. But we've now got the full suite. We've got the full suite of Ponting wines, and let me tell you, they are a sweet treat. Yeah. And I cannot wait to. I told you before, I'm going home for Christmas. Dad and I are going to tuck into. Well, I like a Pinot, but I think for Dad, a Shiraz.
Okay.
We're going to go for a Shiraz.
Full body.
Yeah, a full body. My dad loves a full body.
Yeah.
Yeah, always has, always will.
House. Okay. Son.
Don't you say a fucking word about my mum.
And of course, we've got Punter on stage at the Corner Hotel.
Yeah.
If you want a ticket, you can't get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get it. That will be the biggest show we've ever done. That's going to be $460, I think.
Is it?
At the Corner.
And like it's going to be
fucking
tight
hot.
in it at the Corner post Boxing Day.
Boxing Day is going to be 35 degrees down here. I'm not sure about.
So we're 27th.
We're the 27th. We're 27th. Day two. But I mean, if
it's 35 in Melbourne, then that next day's raining.
Okay, well, still people pouring in. But mate, because Ponting's my hero.
Yes.
So to have a glass of Ponting wines with Ricky Ponting, that's me done, mate. That's the pinnacle.
And that's the name of one of his wines.
Not to use the Pinnacle Shiraz. Yeah, we've only gone and done it.
Do you think will that leave you keen to have quite a few glasses on stage?
I'd imagine they'd probably only just have like sort of 2 or 3 and just call it a night, because that's how usually my relationship to alcohol works.
Same.
Yeah.
Especially on stage.
One's too many, 10's not enough.
You're in trouble. Like our tour manager, I don't think you mind us saying this, our tour manager's Mark Wilson, who's of the band Jet fame. And he said to us...
He's literally the bass player.
He's the bassist of Jet.
Yeah.
So he's been around the block vis-a-vis live shows and live performance.
We feel embarrassed performing because he does arenas.
And he's fantastic. He's such a great help. He's incredible at his job.
Great bloke as well.
Fucking phenomenal bloke.
Yeah.
But I reckon he's been around the traps of vis-a-vis live performance. And he
said... we have vis-a-vis live performance,
he said after Brisbane, he goes, gee, blokes drink a lot on stage. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, that's a fucking Mark saying that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just sort of have 1 or 2 with Rick on stage, I would have thought.
Yeah. We also shared one with JL on stage. That was nice.
Yeah,
that was nice. And then we got Watto as well.
Yeah.
In Sydney for a couple.
He'll have a
couple of shows. He'll have a red. Anyway, mate, I can't wait. I can't wait for it. Anyway, you can go to pontingwines.com.au, use the code GETAFEW, and you get 20% off your purchase. So go and do that, and go enjoy your festive season. Does it feel like Christmas for you yet?
Not really, mate. But that's just the nature of our work. Yeah. I think for others, that Christmas is on.
Yeah,
boys are on it.
Okay, good. Okay, I want to know where we're at vis-a-vis boys being on
in Christmas.
Yeah. Do you want to read the ASKTGC?
Yeah. Okay. This is from Boorez, Boorez, Borers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fellas. I have a bit of a parenting dilemma. My 9-year-old son is a sports tragic and has had 2 detentions at school the last few weeks for the following. 1, a few days after Melbourne Cup, while in class at school, my son was supposed to be doing a maths test, but he decided to jump up on his table with his school ruler as a whip and pretend to ride out Gold Trip the last 400 metres of the cup, which resulted in his first detention.
Harsh, I reckon.
I've read this. 2, while the T20 Cricket World Cup was on, my son in class again stood up between the tables and started shadow batting with his school ruler. When the teacher asked what he was doing, supposedly his reply was, just pushing at a good length delivery. When asked to sit down, my son then proceeded to run down the aisle and shadow bowl towards the teacher and let out a massive appeal, resulting in detention number 2. What the fuck is wrong with my son? Should I be proud he's following his passion for sport, even whilst at school and trying to be educated? Should I buy him a horse to practice his riding, or dig up the pool in the backyard, put down a cement slab, put up a net, buy a bowling machine and work on prodigal runs?
Oh, yeah.
Should I never let him watch sport again, send him to a therapist and ruin his hopes and dreams at the ripe old age of 9? Please help, Boo-Rez.
Nah, fuck that. No, just harness this in your son. Harness it deeper. Fuck school. Like, just get on. If he wants to ride a Melbourne Cup winning horse in his head, he should be doing that. If he wants to scratch off to a perfectly delivered Scott Boland delivery, just outside off and scratch off, or bowl himself and be Scott Boland. Hey, he can be Josh Hazlewood. Hey, he can be Jai Richardson. Hey, he can be Rehand Ahmed.
Yes.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Harness that in your son. Harness that in your boy. Because that's what we need. And yeah, slab it up. Slab it up. Get some nets up.
This is a special boy, I think. You know, you just have to watch this. The great TED talk by Sir Ken Robinson on education, and the key quote, Robbo, to his mates.
Yeah, that was Robbo.
Kenny.
Yeah, what did he say?
Creativity is as important now in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. This boy, he's saying something. This is how he wants to create.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting to me that on both occasions, he could have done those actions just on the floor, but he needed to get on the table to do it. Now, that suggests a stage to me.
Yep.
He wants to be on stage.
Right.
I like it. But it also reminds me of that Bill Hicks bit where he's like, he's saying, you know, I've had drugs and I've had a good time. And he's going on to say, like, but you get all these stories in the press about people who go up, who like get on these hallucinogens and go up to the 50th floor thinking they can fly and jump off. He's like, that's not drugs, they're morons. He's like, if you think you could fly, just do it from the floor. It's not the drugs' fault.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah, oh, thanks. So I think this boy's got a big future. He needs to be in the right education. He needs the right education, the right encouragement around him.
Yeah.
I particularly like that it seems to be the quiet of a maths test that causes him to just kind of immediately go, I'm on the table riding home a fucking Melbourne Cup winner.
Fuck yeah.
Pushing it a good length at the age of 9. I like to hear that from a test cricket perspective.
How's the clip?
Well, if he's 9, you'd think he's sort of reverse sweeping, sorry, that's a sex act. You know, or flipping, you know, whatever, but he's pushing at a good length.
Yep.
Possibly playing and missing too.
Even
That's
better.
very encouraging.
Square yourself up. Absolutely perfect. Good signs ahead. Good times ahead. Hope you
Interesting times ahead.
have the merriest of Christmases for those who choose to celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate it, I hope you have a great December 25th anyway. From champs to chop kings, alphas to beaters. I hope you and yours have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And to you, Pez. And to yours, and to your possessions, the things you own.
And to you and to yours and to your possessions and the things that you own.
And I received that and I accept it. And you can find us on Patreon for hashtag ASKTGC Fridays, the last one before Christmas. But we'll see you Coates at the Corner Hotel on the 27th. We'll see you at Boxing Day. Have a great Christmas. See you later.